I do sessions like this for the university as a whole, but but I don't really do one for a specific group. And so what I try to do in this session is to really just show you what is the most valuable resources, pretty much like the core of the USA Library, plus the things that you will be using currently. I don't know where each of you all are in your course right now. I think a lot of the 7,000 people have a assignment due this weekend, maybe. Don't quote me on that. I haven't looked at the syllabus in a week, but I think that's the one where you have to look up an article or a couple of articles, and then you make like a little graph basically out of them. And so with some of your assignments, current assignments in mind, plus some of the future assignments that you'll have in some of your other courses, I've tried to kind of customize this just to show you what you need, but just to let you know that what I'm going to show you tonight is just a little peek of it. That I definitely encourage you all to check out the library on your own and investigate it that way best. So at any rate, with all of that, it's a bit of an intro we just had there. My name is Ryan Gaylor. I'm the distance learning librarian for the University of St. Augustine, and we're going to do a little introduction to the USA Library that's sort of specialized for 7,000 and 7050. So let me go to the first slide here. 1 second. I'm sorry, can give me 1 second. I'm going to pause this really quick. I'll be right back. I apologize. I'm so sorry, guys. I hope you can't hear my crying child in the background. My 4-year-old. I hope not. Is that audible? I apologize. My 4-year-old is going to be going to bed shortly, and of course, he doesn't like that. So I hope that's not audible. Let me know, please. Okay, terrific. I had to get up and make sure first that he was like not seriously hurt, and then also that he was getting ready for bed. So I apologize about that. So not to waste any more of your time, I'll go ahead and get going. For our agenda for tonight, we'll cover the overview of the USA Library, some of which I've already kind of talked about, but we're going to go through some important sections of the USA Library that are probably most pertinent to you in your current course and in a couple of the future ones you have coming up. We're going to identify some resources and tools that are important and that you should be using starting now. Library guides, we'll talk a little bit about those. Those are pretty cool. We're going to search through Search USA some as well. Of course, Search USA is is the library search engine, which essentially searches all of the library's resources, whether it's databases or physical items like actual books and bone models and treatment tables. It searches everything. So we're going to play with that a little bit because that is one of the best ways to actually get to know the USA Library is just by kind of investigating through Search USA. We'll talk a little bit about search terms. I'm probably not going to spend a lot of time on that, but it's just sort of letting you know some of the best practices when it comes to generating search terms for trying to locate an article or some type of resource for academic work and whatnot. Talk about finding full text, how to do that, a little bit about interlibrary loan, which is a fantastic service that we offer. I'll go over that. And of course, I'm going to hopefully have enough time to answer questions. Now, if you could do me a big favor, just because there is a lot of content I have to go through tonight. If you do have a question, you can just drop it in the chat for me, or wait until the end of the session. Just so I can get to everybody's question, and just so we don't get sidetracked by any, the flow of it, I guess you could say, because I'm trying to keep it right to 55 minutes. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. At any rate, let's go ahead and go to the next slide, which is the slide to kind of get us going, which is exploring the library. So I'm going to switch gears. I'm going to take us to the library homepage. Oh yeah, that's the picture of the one that was crying just a few minutes ago. And let's do 1 second. Okie dokie. Library homepage right here. So a little bit of stuff that I'm going to cover. It's going to be kind of detailed as far as going through, like I said, some of the most pertinent information to your current experience as University of St. Augustine student. The first thing I'm going to mention is the search bar that's here at the top. Now, the search bar allows you to search USA, which you can tell that you're searching by looking over here at this little drop-down menu, this menu item. Excuse me. So whatever you add into this search bar will search USA. That's the default, but in truth, you can search a couple of different things with this search bar, but you have to select it. So let's say I want to search the website for information about EndNote, for example. I can type that in, make sure I'm on the website item, and then click search. And it will search the entire library website for anything that mentions EndNote or citation managers or anything like that. So that's how that works. It's just like any sort of search engine you've ever come in contact with, and I know you guys use a lot. The library catalog. I'm not really going to do a search of the library catalog. Library catalog is where Search USA searches everything. And when I mean everything, I'll say this probably a few times throughout tonight, but Search USA is a search engine that searches our databases, our physical collection, digital collection, you name it. That's what it searches. The library catalog is different from Search USA in that the library catalog searches the library's physical collection. So again, that's going to be like your books, our campus-based stuff. So that would be, of course, books, bone models, treatment tables, any other small equipment. I know on a few campuses they allow you to like check out clipboards. Like that's going to be that, and that's going to be those types of resources. Now, as online students, that you probably will not check out a lot of materials from the library. You can, but it's only select items. Like for example, you can check out a physical textbook from the library, as long as it's a circulating textbook, and the library will ship it to you. So that's pretty convenient. But really, outside of that, I don't really expect you all to be using the library catalog a ton, but I just want to let you know that it exists and it's there. Again, when you're searching Search USA, you will also get the library catalog's holdings. Now, if you're interested in kind of playing around with the library catalog and just searching it on your own, I probably did that too fast. On the library webpage, you just go directly down to library catalog, click on it, and then it'll open up. It works just up here at the search bar, works just like any other search engine that you've ever used. where you can type in just, I don't know, physical therapy, and it'll run a search where it'll collect everything that is a physical item in our collection. So you're talking about your circulating or physical books, physical journal collections, and so on. Now there is kind of a little asterisk that is right next to the library catalog is only houses physical items or the holdings of the physical holdings of the library. There's a little bit of like an asterisk next to it because we also catalog ebooks um, in the library catalog. But the only reason why that we do that is just because it's easier to to actually catalog them that way. So I am again, and we'll look at ebooks when we're searching Search USA, but there's only a select amount of ebooks. I think it's mostly our R2 digital library books, and I think the ProQuest books, um, like if you're in Search USA searching for an ebook and you see it, it may take you to the library catalog and then say, and then you may be able to, and it may ask you to access the book through the library catalog. So just that may be the only other time that you would ever really do a lot in the library catalog is that if Search USA tells you you have to go through the library catalog to access one of our ebooks. So again, library catalog, physical items, asterisks, except for ebooks, but they're only really there just so we can keep track of them. So that's pretty much what you really need to know about the library catalog, I suppose. If you have, of course, any additional questions, you can always reach out to me about it and I can answer those questions for you. We also have an assortment of videos that usually are pretty helpful as far as like renewing items online. If you have items out, request materials online if you have that. And I just did a really quick search for items, so you could probably not have to watch that video now. So that's great. But let me X out library catalog and kind of continue on. Right next to this is a way to access your student portal, your MyUSA student portal. Here's a link to the Writing Center. I got this question last night, and I couldn't believe that I forgot to mention the Writing Center last night. Now, the University of St. Augustine Library is not, we do not oversee the Writing Center, but the Writing Center but the Writing Center and the library work together a lot. But this is how you get to the Writing Center. You can also access it through your portal. I think it's under Student Services. You can click on that and connect to the Writing Center that way, or you can go through the library, click on Writing Center. And what's important about this, and definitely check it out when you get the opportunity to, but one of the reasons why I bring it up is because you know, if especially with working on papers and projects and things like that, where you're going to have to use APA or AMA citations and things like that, this is where all of that information is. So Writing Center for anything relating to academic writing and citations. Now, if you have a citation question, don't think that don't think that you just have to ask the Writing Center. We can answer those questions as well. But anything as far as like academic writing, those are your people. But I will show you. This is links to the AMA 10th edition referencing guide, where it has some information about it. It has a link to the actual guide that you can go to. And then we actually put together, this was a couple years ago, but we put together basically like most asked questions, examples that people typically ask us as far as like citation questions. So everything from single author citations to chapter within an article or a book or print journal, things like that. It even goes all the way down to how do you cite PowerPoint slides even. But this is AMA, so the folks that use AMA, you may use this. But APA, They've just upgraded up to the APA 7th edition, which is the one that I think a lot of people are using now or going to be using if they aren't already. This is a good little guide as far as talking about the changes from the 6th edition and the 7th edition, if you want to take a look at that. And then again, it has the samples. So the samples usually save you a lot of time. So I just wanted to let you know that they were here because I know this assignment's coming up and a couple other assignments in your classes, and you're always going to have questions about APA, and I totally get it. It can be very confusing. And here's another thing I want to show you before we X out of this and go back to the library is the writing and grammar tip sheets. Actually, no, that's not the one. Resources is the one I wanted to show you, where you can access the AMA style manual here. APA has they have it's called Academic Writer. I personally have not used this yet. I would say that if you're interested in it, to talk to the Writing Center about it. But Academic Writer is supposed to kind of work, to my understanding, kind of as a mixture between, it's affiliated with APA Citation, but it's supposed to kind of help you set up the APA paper and then assist you with citation. So it's kind of maybe a combination of something between Grammarly with APA citation information. So again, I haven't tried it, and if you have any questions about it, definitely point those toward the Writing Center. But it might be something worth checking out, something to look at would be cool. And then, of course, Grammarly, this is one that a lot of people use as well. That one is pretty helpful, and you have free access to it as a USA student. Some of our citation resources, some of those are located here, but we'll get to those in just a few minutes. We'll have to go back to the library for those. But let's see, upcoming events right here. These are very important. So myself and Eric Robinson, who is the other distance learning librarian, he's on the West Coast. We produce and work on different training webinars each month. We try to run anywhere between 4 to 6 total, and it's over a lot of different topics that we usually present. And it's a session that's exactly like this. You show up, you log in, and you can sit through an information session on pretty much anything range. I mean, our topics usually during the month of January, because it is the first term. What topics you'll see under the upcoming events are some of the basic things like searching the USA Library or the basics. I do a little session about like the core things that are the most important. We also, right now, there's PubMed, which is an excellent biomedical resource. It's had a bit of a facelift over the last few months, and so we have training sessions about PubMed and how to use the new interface. So that's sort of a sample. If you also want to check out some of the past webinars that we've done, we record all the webinars that we do, and so if you go to Archive webinars and then the archive, it'll show you all of it will connect you to all of the past recordings that we've had. So this is the basic one that I usually do. I have to actually update the one that I did the other night to this, but this is one from I think it's from last semester or last term, so there really hasn't been too much that has changed really, other than the upgrade of PubMed. Here's one about PubMed, of course, which I'm going to be updating soon because of the changes. ProQuest ebook, if you're interested in learning anything about our ebooks. So yeah, you can just kind of go through these tabs, and these are some of the webinars that Eric and I have put together. We have Citation Manager series. I know a lot of you all are beginning to work with EndNote, for example. There's a past session I did last term, I believe, for EndNote. That's located here. Zotero, which is a really helpful tool, and so is Mendeley. And then this is a general citation manager presentation I do, which is basically just giving you the pros and cons, because it's usually the question that people ask about is which one do you prefer. So I did a little session for that. But yeah, if you want to check those out, more than welcome to. You might get some great information out of it. The upcoming ones, as you know, that are at the bottom of the homepage, you can also look these up here and sign up for them. I have one that's searching the USA Library that's coming up, which is sort of not really similar to the one I'm doing tonight. It's a little bit more in depth with searching. So if you get around to it, if you're interested in it, drop in and check it out. It's on Wednesday. And almost always the sessions will be at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So, of course, that's 8 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. on the West Coast. So, and then to access those, you just click here. That'll pop up, and then the online classroom will open up. But you don't have to sign up for them if you don't want to. If you just want to go and drop in and listen, that's fine too. But it always helps. But it always helps us if you sign in as well. So check those out when you get the opportunity to. Our contact is one of the main things that we use as a communication tool between us, the library, and students, faculty, and staff is our virtual chat tool, which currently is offline. And the reason why it's offline is because I am talking to you right now. Usually on Thursday, Eric, my counterpart on the West Coast, he is off Thursdays and Fridays. And so if he's off, I take over for the night. So I will usually inherit the online chat around 6 p.m. Central Time, and then I'll be on until 11 p.m. Central Time tonight, which is midnight on the East Coast. But if you want to know about our hours, they're located here. I would say the Saturday and Sunday, actually both of us work those days, so I'll usually do a little bit earlier in the day, and then he'll take over the chat there in the morning. So we have coverage all the way to from 7 a.m. on the East Coast on Saturdays and Sundays and Wednesday, all the way till 2 a.m. on the East Coast. So it's a pretty good stretch of time if you need to contact us. If ever this is offline the way it is now, which sometimes it is, you can always email us at library@usa.edu. Now, that email address is one that's checked by myself, my boss, all of our other campus librarians, as well as support staff, and you will actually most likely get an answer fairly quickly if it's not a holiday. So we usually post our any sort of special hours will usually be posted in this little bank right here where it says Happy New Year, new PubMed. We usually like to keep our users pretty informed about when we're open physically as well as online. Contact information for each of our campuses if you're interested, and if you ever need to contact one of our campuses, they're all located here. So for St. Augustine, this is your address, and this is the contact phone number, and of course, if you need to email any of us, library@usa.edu is the best contact. So then you have our Miami campus, there's your contact information for that. Our Austin, Texas campus, contact information, you get kind of an idea of actually where it is. And our brand new Dallas campus, and then last but not least, our San Marcos, California campus, which is a really pretty campus, by the way. So is Austin, too. That's a nice one. So let's go to the tabs up here to resources. This is kind of where we'll begin. We'll kind of start jumping off and doing some searching, and I'll show you some different tools. As I said, you can search USA through this search bar here at the top. You can just enter your search terms in, like so. For example, and hit search, and it will execute the search. But you can also go to Search USA through this link right here under resources. I'll open it for you so you can take a look at it. The reason why that I like to show this one off is that the the search bar that's on the homepage doesn't have additional searching fields. So the one that it basically has is the simple keyword search, total text search. Whereas if you go to Search USA through this link here, it takes you to the main interface where you can choose between basic search, advanced search. You can access your search history if you've been doing that for a while. So yeah, I like to point that out because some people, when they first encounter Search USA, let's say they're very focused on a particular topic that they couldn't find doing a basic keyword search, and they want to isolate certain phrases or look for a specific journal, and set some and set up some limiters for it. You can't necessarily do that on the homepage because there's no options for it, but you can definitely do it through our Search USA link. But you can also do it right after you hit the search button and go into Search USA. You can change that by going to advanced search if you want to do that as well. It's completely up to you, but I just like to let you guys know that it's there. So our list of databases. So we have quite a few. We have some of the most important ones for your studies. So some of the ones that are most featured are Muse, CentOL Complete, Dynamed Plus, ERIC, ProQuest, and PubMed. These are also categorized as well. So this one is a health business database that we subscribe to. Here's some of the education databases we subscribe to, some of the journal collection databases that we also subscribe to, where we have purchased journals from a specific publisher, and also made those available. So if you get the opportunity to, definitely kind of just sort of go through this list, and I'll kind of point out some that are that are really helpful, and ones that you might use now actually. And I would say CentOL Complete is always a good one. ProQuest is also a good one too. And the reason why I like ProQuest and why I always mention ProQuest, and if you watched the recording last night I said this too, is that the USA Library searches, the Search USA searches all of our resources and all of the databases really. But what it doesn't search, or it doesn't search well, is ProQuest. And so ProQuest is one of the databases that is kind of forgotten about sometimes, which is really unfortunate because for one, it has a lot of different types of information ranging from health information, nursing, all the way to business, philosophy, psychology, art, you name it. And plus, the ProQuest database gives you access to the ProQuest dissertations and theses database, which is really huge and really great and helpful to use sometimes, as well as their ebook collection. So the most unfortunate thing about the Search USA searching tool is that it doesn't search ProQuest completely. It definitely doesn't search ProQuest's ebook collection, especially, but occasionally you'll see something that will connect you to a ProQuest. They'll connect you to a ProQuest database, but often if you're wanting to use it, you'll most often have to use it separately, which is unfortunate. But again, if you're interested in learning more about ProQuest, you can always come to one of the webinars that I typically hold, where I kind of go through how it works and some of the best features of it. Excuse me, I had to take a drink. Oh, ebooks. Our ebook platforms, of course, again, I'll say this a couple times tonight, is that Search USA searches just about everything, minus ProQuest for the most part, but it does search our physical book collection, ebook collection, articles, and so on and so forth. But if you're interested in, let's say, searching for a specific title, or I would say browsing the ebook collection, you can just go to any one of these vendors that we have accounts with, and these are the ones where I actually get the ebooks from. You can click on those and browse them basically, and just check out our EBSCO ebooks, the ones that we purchased from EBSCO. Browse for it by category. It'll give you featured titles, highlight some of the more popular titles that we have, and so on. It's really cool to use. I'll take you to the ProQuest or the ProQuest ones. You can take a look at that one as well. And if you want to learn more about ebooks, I'm going to be doing another session about ebooks, I believe, next week, I think. Let me open. So if you're interested in learning about the platforms and things like that, you can join me on the 30th, on January 30th, to learn a little bit more about our ebook platforms and how to search them and things like that. So yeah, that's our ebook. That's our ebook section. These are thumbnails that are some of the more popular textbooks. I know maybe some of these don't really look familiar. Some of them may look familiar. But the ones really that are situated here are ones that are usually some of the most popular ones, and it's mostly because these are texts that are used on campuses like right now. So those always get a lot of movement. Some of our recommended textbooks from students and faculty, and some of our staff as well, that's located here, and you can kind of peruse that at your leisure. I have a webinar about ebooks, the similar webinar, the one I'm going to be doing in a week or so. That one's located here, and if you want some tips about just learning how to locate ebooks and physical items, just strictly those items through Search USA, there's a little video that's about that too. I think I'm the one that did that video too. So yeah. Our videos and interactive tools. This is where you would access the USA video library, which will range from instructional sessions, a lot like this one, as well as our university produced videos, which range from anatomy videos, massage, physical therapy techniques. There's also like some really gross stuff on here too, as far as with cadavers and things like that. Whenever that pops up by accident, if I have to look for something in there, I quickly try to move away from it. It's kind of gross, but yeah, so that's there. Also, you can access our subscription to Visible Body, which is a really popular tool for our campus-based students that are just starting their doctorate programs, as well as their masters in OT and things like that. This is usually a very popular app that they use. But when you get an opportunity to, I wouldn't say this stuff is vital to what you're doing now, but I'd say if you get the opportunity to, yeah, come in and check it out. It's got some cool stuff. Our journal collection, this is pretty vital, I would say. Again, you can search our journals through Search USA, or at least the articles that appear in those journals. But if you're just interested in searching journals, just browsing through journals, you can go to our journal finder or our journal page and then click on journal finder. Again, just like everything in the library, we have a little video that we do to kind of show you how to search it. But I'll be quick so we can get back to some of the other stuff. But our journal collection, this is going to incorporate our physical journals as well as our digital subscriptions if it ever loads. And so it's got that interesting, it kind of encompasses much better and in one place the journal collection that we have. This thing was moving slow last night too. Let me see. And so if it loads, hopefully very soon, that you can browse by topic. You can also, it's also searchable as well. So if you're looking for the American Journal of Occupational Therapy, you can type in exactly that title, or AJOT, or you could enter in the ISSN as well, and it'll locate the journal for you. I really wish I was able to show you this. I don't know why it's going so slow. I'm sure you guys have probably experienced this before, where if you're ever doing something in front of a large group of people, you tend to, for some reason, start having problems with it. So maybe I should come back to that later. But if it's working for you now, and if you're following along, click on it and check it out. There's some really good stuff. It's not exactly like going to a newsstand, which I don't even know if those exist anymore, or if you like go to the airport or something and go to one of the newsstands. It doesn't actually work like that. It's not browsing as far as that goes, like picking up a physical item, because it's digital. So what it'll show you is you'll be like you'll click on like one of the entries, and it may show you if this for some reason was not working. I would be able to show you, but I don't know why that's happening. 1 second. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so it doesn't look like it wants to play nice with us tonight, but that's okay. We'll go back to sharing the screen. And yeah, when you get the opportunity to check it out on your own, if you have any questions about it, by all means, you can ask me. I'd be more than happy to help you with it. But yeah, we'll be able to search some of this stuff. Last thing I want to say about Journal Finder is that when you go to search Journal Finder, it actually looks a lot like Search USA. So it also has a lot of the same limiters and filters and things like that that you can use, and it's searchable as well. If you have an article you're looking for, you can enter it in and it'll locate the journal for you. So SOAR is, I'm sure you've been trying to figure out what that is. SOAR is our scholarly open access repository, which what that is that we collect and we catalog and preserve our scholarly output from our students or faculty and staff, and you can access that here, which is great. So if you're interested in recent dissertation, Eric, my counterpart on the um, that's on the West Coast, he's responsible for this collection, and he your main contact for it. But yeah, he catalogs a lot of this stuff, and we have dissertations and theses from recently graduated students that have been uploaded up here, and you can click on the entry and just do a quick download, and you can read their let me see, I think this is a dissertation. So yeah, you could sit down and check out some of our scholarly output from the University of St. Augustine. As I said, most people that present papers and publish are going to be our faculty, staff, and students. You also can, we have this thing that's called Research Day that's on a couple of our brick and mortar campuses, St. Augustine campus, and I think California does it. I don't know if the Texas campus do it yet, but Research Day is when some of our students from the DPT program or speech therapy, I think, as well as occupational therapy, they'll do a poster presentation where they're paired up with a faculty member to do the presentation and to do the research. And so we collect those this year. So if you're ever interested in looking at the different formats for poster presentations, because I'm sure that at some point you might have to do one of these, whether it's in your coursework or if you're doing it to present it at a conference or something like that. You can get some really good ideas by looking at some of the posters that have been done, layout, format, how it's done. It's helpful. It's very helpful, and we try to collect all of the poster presentations, thesis dissertations, articles published by our faculty and students, and try to go in one place where you can find them easily. So that's SOAR. If you have more questions about SOAR, let me know, or you can always email soar@usa.edu if you have questions especially about SOAR. But yeah, I always like to let people know that it's there, and just so they can check it out whenever they need to. Services, I've kind of mentioned this already. This is our Ask the Librarian, which is going to be your chat as well as the library email here. And of course, our to access anyone by telephone. I already showed you that information, but it'll go over that if you clicked on that. Our interlibrary loan service, which is a really popular service, and I think it's one of the best services that we have at the university. So, interlibrary loan is basically whenever you would file an interlibrary loan is if you were looking through Search USA and you couldn't find an article you were looking for, or a physical book maybe, or ebook that you were looking for, and um, um, and you really need it, then you can fill out either this interlibrary loan form and provide us with the citation information, or really all we most of the time just need is your name, your email, and maybe the title, and we're usually able to track something down. We have partnerships with libraries and hospitals and government institutions all across the country. And so basically what happens with the interlibrary loan and why it's so important and why it's a great service that we provide is that it expands it expands our collection exponentially. And so if you can't find something through us, let us know, and uh, we'll find it for you. We've tracked down articles as far as Australia, Canada, pretty much tons of places overseas, and lots of, as I mentioned, government agencies, government institutions, uh, um, universities and colleges and things like that all over the country. So if you can't find it, let us know, and we will do our best to track it down for you. Printing, copying, scanning, borrow, renew, and request, that's really probably not going to apply to you all so much, but I will let you know that if you need to print, copy, scan, you can do that while you're on campus. And so yeah, just to let you know that that's there. And when you graduate, here's some information about your alumni privileges. You can check those out on your own when you get the chance to. Definitely will point out the online education library services page. This is where you'll find information about the library services that we provide to online students, as well as connect some of the stuff I'm talking about tonight, connecting to the library, our ebook collection. Um, if you need to make an appointment, we do short or we do large group instruction, one-on-one instruction, and we can discuss everything from software, library related software problems um, to even if you're trying to locate an article or something like that. um, we can make time for you for sure, and we can meet you through Skype, Collaborate, Ultra, telephone, and in person. Now that really only happens, of course, if you attend one of the immersions, which there's going to be one coming up in March, and I think another one in April. So I usually travel to those, so whoever's coming, I'll see you there. Webinars and trainings, we've already been there before. Let's move on to guides really quick, and then I'll wrap up this part so we can do a little searching, and I can tell you a little bit about Search USA and kind of how to navigate it pretty quickly. Research guides. So what are research guides? What this means, or what the guides mean, is that all the librarians and library support staff, we like to try to make the library using experience easier. And so one thing that we try to accomplish with these guides is we try to pull together information from like on a topic, and then we like to kind of pull it all together and create kind of like a one-stop shop. So if you're, and a lot of these are based on people have asked us, tons of questions about or it comes up where one of our librarians or myself, someone, we're working with a student or a faculty member and say, hey, we could make this easier for our students and our faculty. Like, let's create a guide, and let's look up information through our library, plus our partnering libraries as well, and then let's create this, kind of one-stop shop, I guess you could say. So for instance, we have one that we created on advanced database searching. I would say for what you're doing for at this point in your experience, you're starting out your first month of school. I don't know if you'll be doing a lot of advanced searching, database searching just yet, but if you're interested in learning about it, you can totally do that. And as I said, what we've done is we just, in a lot of these guides that we've just kind of collected information, whether it be from other libraries, generally on the web, or through our library and our resources, and kind of pulled them together to make it easy for you not to have to search all over the place for information. So you can go through these tabs, and they're all different. Phrase searching, wildcards and truncation, Boolean searching, all of that stuff. Some of these are also course-based as well. I've created a couple for teachers and their courses. For those taking IPE 7050, you'll recognize the name of your class here, and this is the one I created for your class about 2 terms ago. And what I tried to do, or at least what I tried to accomplish, was I used a lot of the information that I've worked on with previous students and questions that they've asked the library, or questions that when I'm working one-on-one or in a small group with students, you know, just to sort of listen to their concerns and try to make it easy for them to locate the information they're looking for. So if you're in IPE 7050, a lot of the information that's in this evidence-based practice guide is probably going to be very, it's either happening now, or you're going to be talking about it and learning about it coming up soon. So there's a little bit about original research, finding quantitative, qualitative research. This will take you to another guide that I created about finding quantitative and qualitative research and what that is and how to locate it using the library's resources. So yeah, I mean, there is some rationale behind it, and so we like to kind of put these together for you all. Prisma diagram, that's going to be something that you all may have to, those in 7050 or those in 7000 eventually taking 7050, stuff that that might come around pretty soon for you. So check that guide out if you're in that class or going to be in that class at some point. Could be very helpful. Unfortunately, I do not have one yet for 7000. I've been pulling some information together to create one, but I have yet to finish it yet. So hopefully very soon it'll be out and you can use it. Again, I definitely check a lot of these guides out, that some of them that may be interesting to you, or just to see some of the things that we've been working on for our faculty and students and whatnot. Citation managers, especially those that are struggling with EndNote. I created a guide generally for citation management tools, and so you click on each individual tab and it'll say, okay, this one's with Mendeley, Zotero, and we have the webinar that I did for it, or some quick videos to show you how to do certain things. Plus we created these little quick start guides for some of these. So like for Zotero, we have a little quick start guide to kind of walk you through the process of downloading it and start adding citations to the library. And then I have one here for EndNote. EndNote can be a little more challenging, so I have a couple more guides that I created separately from this guide to sort of walk you through that process. This is a webinar about EndNote that I did, I think it was last term or the term before that. A lot of the stuff that I cover in that session is answered through these guides, because I know it's a long webinar because there's lots of stuff that you have to cover and go through. But if you don't want to sit through the whole webinar, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I haven't yet added the signposts, so it shows you what I'm doing so you can skip ahead. I apologize for that for those that have already watched it. I really, really apologize. But everything that's covered in this session, you can look up in these guides that I've created with screenshots and explanations and things like that of what's happening. So if you don't want to sit through the whole thing, you could definitely use the visual aid going here to these PDF documents. And they cover a little bit of everything from locating full text, using EndNote, which I don't recommend that you do, transferring citations to into EndNote from some of our other resources. But yeah, if you're interested in learning about that, go ahead, go check it out. So I think we're done with guides. You can, again, check those out at your leisure. The About Us, this is good because it's all of our contact information with the library. Of course, you can always just email us, library@usa.edu, to get any one of the librarians. But if you're interested in talking to one in particular, you can check out our little bios and things that we have here. That's Eric. He's our other distance learning librarian, the guy I've been talking about. Here's his contact information. Pretty handsome guy. And then the person you've been waiting for, there's me. That's terrible. I don't know why I said that. There's me, and there's my contact information there. I know it has my phone number there, and that's great. It also has my link to my email. I would say if the best way to contact me is probably through email. Like a lot of our professors and support staff that are online or remote, we have to be in front of the computer really and actually logged in to have access to the phone. Whereas if if you shoot us an email, the majority of us have our email Outlook on our phones already, and so typically like that's usually the best way to get in contact with us because the majority of us have that ready to go and we can view pretty quickly that way. This is my hours when I'm working. I'm off on Mondays and Tuesdays, so if you don't hear from me on those days, my apologies. I'm off. I usually just try to stay away. I'll answer emails if something's really drastic and important, but on those days, if you can't reach me, you can always email library@usa.edu, and they'll be able to help you. Pretty much everything I know, my other colleagues can help you with that. So anyway, let's go back. Oh my God, I can't. Looking at my face. Okay, I think we did everything on the web page I wanted to show you, but let's do some searching. So I'll talk really quick about search terms. I'm going to do a very really simple search like I did a few minutes ago, and I think I just misspelled that, yeah. For knee osteoarthritis, for example. And why I'm doing a really simple search is I like to try to impart into students that the easiest way to locate information using in any sort of academic database is to try to get to the point with the type of thing that um, the type of terms you want to use. And I always tell people to keep it as simple as possible. You know, use nouns, omit anything that verbs, articles, anything like that. You just want to keep it simple to the simplest terms as possible when you're searching. The terms don't have to be in any particular order. Students have asked me about that before. Definitely don't do sentence form, like what is knee osteoarthritis. You'll get hits from it where you'll actually be able to see different articles about it, but it doesn't, that's really not the best way to search for something. You can do, I mean, there's really no rhyme or reason to it. Most search engines, pretty much in the last 10 years, 5 years, or God, I think even longer than that, really. Most search engines are pretty sophisticated, especially the ones that a lot of libraries use, or these library websites or the academic databases. So they're usually pretty good at picking up, what you're looking for. Now, I know that's not always the case. You put the search terms in, you get nothing, or you only get 7 results or 2 results or 10 results when you need more than that. And usually when that happens is when you kind of have to sit back and you have to maybe come up with some synonyms for terms. If you find an article, whether it's through Search USA or whether it's on the web or through Google Scholar or anything like that, there's nothing against looking at that article and using the author supplied keywords or the subject headings, or just using maybe terms of how you found that article to locate other articles, or using the reference page of an article you really like to locate other articles. You can do that. That's totally fine to do. But I'm just going to do this quick search really quick. But yeah, with search terms, just try to keep them simple and to the point, because the search engine, whether it's Search USA or whether it's PubMed's that searches Medline, it does a lot of the work for you. So only time you're really going to incorporate any of the funny characters, the truncation, the Boolean operators is usually when you're really kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel as far as like locating articles and locating resources. I advise students, especially at the beginning of their research, to exercise all options before they start really focusing with the truncation tools and with the Boolean operators. That's the Boolean operators. If you don't know, those are that is um, and or nor. Yeah. And actually, if you go to the advanced search, it will give you those, or excuse me, and or not. That'll give you the options to do that. So you're not adding them in yourself. You can if you want, but most of the time, the search engine anticipates that you're looking for multiple terms and automatically adds and into your search anyway. So you really don't have to use that one necessarily as much, but that's the thing with the advanced search is that usually if you're using the advanced search, you know what you're looking for, but you're just trying to isolate it to the basics. But I would say, again, it's always a good idea to start with a general term and then kind of work your way down. Running out on time, but good, we're in the right spot because I'm kind of finishing up on the search part. So these are limiters. So if I did a search in Search USA, make sure I'm logged in. So sometimes that'll happen, especially if, and I think that's the root of the journal problem I had a few minutes ago trying to do the journals, is I'm logged in a couple different locations on my computer right now, which is not bad. That's not a bad thing to do, but sometimes it tricks um, the proxy server, which is how you log into the library to view our information. It tricks it into thinking that you're not logged in, but when you are. So if you think you're not, just go and click on that little yellow bar at the top, the guest login, and if you're logged in, it'll go ahead and allow you to move forward. If you're logged in to your My USA account, that it works the same way as well. It'll let you log in. But yeah, we're trying to fix the yellow thing because it is confusing. It's confusing to us sometimes too. So at any rate, with my search generated 31,000. It's a lot of information. I can limit that information over here in this sidebar. I can do a limit to what's available in the library collection. So when you do a general search, keyword search, or however you want to search in Search USA, it searches, as you can tell, everything. Everything that's highlighted is how the search engine searched the key terms. So it looked for key terms in the title, it looked for key terms in the abstract, it looked for key terms everywhere. So it's looking for everything. That's when you use the keyword field. If you're using title, it's just going to search these terms that appear in titles only. And so yeah, you kind of get the idea of that. And so I advise students when they start, don't limit themselves to what's available in the library collection, because that's just going to limit you to what we have right on hand that you can access right now. I'd say if you're in a time constraint, maybe that's the case. You may want to do that. But if you don't have the time constraint, because you have to anticipate that we also have interlibrary loan right here, which of course our interlibrary loan service, if you order an article, it usually takes anywhere between either a few hours to a maximum of 5 business days. Some of the international titles, ones from other countries, that can take a little bit more time sometimes, because that's kind of after we submit the order, we have to wait for them to fill it. And some other universities are like that too, where their interlibrary loan department may not be as staffed as well as ours. And so sometimes it takes a couple of days for people to sit down and actually look up the article and send it to us. But often we can fill orders within a couple of hours to usually the maximum is 5 days. But you can fill this out by clicking, if this was an article you're interested in, you can fill the form out, first name, last name, email address, any comments you have, and it'll automatically populate the bibliographic information for you to check out. A little pro tip about this article, I'm glad I found this, because I never have the opportunity to show this unless somebody accidentally clicks on one of these articles. This is a foreign language. This is article from China, and it's written in Chinese. I know that it's foreign language before I even open it because it has these brackets around it. These brackets indicate that the title has been translated. So the article, and you'll see language, like all of the records will show this to you, or the majority of them will show you the language. You can tell by the title, sometimes by the publication, but you'll see language. It'll pop up and tell you what language it's in, so you don't spend time trying to find an article and then realize you can't read it if you can't read Mandarin Chinese. You will see that the abstract is in English, but that's something that happens commonly throughout academic publishing, that they will translate the abstract into English, but everything else probably won't be. So let's go back out. Almost done, I promise. So catalog only, of course, that's going to be our physical items. If you check marked on that, it'll redo the search just like if you did available in library collection. And then it does a new search of your keywords, and then it searches everything that's physical. So our physical books in library and our physical campuses, you know the drill. Peer reviewed, if you activate that limiter, it's just going to filter out peer reviewed articles only. So that might be one that you may be using, especially this weekend or this week or sometime in the very future. If you want to adjust publication dates, you can do that here, or you can use the little sidebar or the I don't know what that's called, like a little toggle to go back and forth. Source types, this gives you the types of resources you're looking at. So if you did our search, it'll be like we have 26,000 academic journals, which you can go ahead and say academic articles is what that means. It just says that it pulls from academic journals. Magazines, news, books, ebooks, dissertations and theses, trade publications, reports, reviews. You get the idea, videos, everything. And you can filter through that of what you want to see. If you want to see academic journals, activate that filter, and you'll see stuff from academic journals, reputable academic journals. Subject filter, very fun filter to use, very helpful, especially when you're starting to kind of not see what you're looking for. Every article that shows up in an academic database of any type, whether it's PubMed or Sentinel or whatever, ProQuest, it is indexed and it's assigned subject terms. It's assigned subject terms to make it easier for the researcher to locate the article faster. So by my key terms that I entered and click search, the search engine's algorithm determined to the best of its ability exactly what I'm looking for. And so it's giving me these options to target my search best. Subject terms are also really helpful if you start running out of keywords to use, because these are the words that it's kind of like what we're looking at is the language of the database, and it gets you to the article faster. Every database has different languages, maybe not super different, but sometimes terms are cataloged or are indexed a different way, so it can be a little challenging. But the subject filter is great because it points you in the right direction a lot faster than you would if you were just continuing to do keyword searches. So knee osteoarthritis and rehabilitation, of course, I'm going to be picking physical therapy, rehabilitation. That's the kind of articles I'm looking for. Knee osteoarthritis. There's a bunch that we can go through, but I'm going to try to speed through this. Click update. And it does the search all over again with my key terms plus the subject terms. The subject terms, again, are what's used to index the article to make it easier for you to find it. So hypothetically speaking, you could copy and paste all the subject terms that I just highlighted here into the keyword search bar or into the subject search bar, and it most likely would bring up this article or an article almost or almost identical in topic information to this. Now, I've done it before and tried it and it's worked, but I'm not going to risk doing it tonight and it not working. But I've seen it happen a couple of times when you've used the right combination of subject terms. But anyway, let's access an article, and we're going to get out of here really fast so you guys can get back to your Friday night. Real quick, for those in 7050, this is content provider, which you'll have to provide if you're using putting together a Prisma diagram. It's going to ask you what databases you pulled your information from. For instance, go check out the guide when you get the chance to. It talks about this a little bit more, but this is how you locate what database you've pulled information from, is by content provider. Like it shows you of the search I did what databases it pulled articles from, which can be helpful. It's also located in the record you'll see as you're searching. It'll say database, sports discus, for instance, or all complete, but you can usually spot it in the record right there. So access an article, click full text. Sometimes with full text, it'll take you to a landing page and then it takes you to another, then it takes you to the publisher. It's just because of how the publisher wants you to connect to the article. We have no control over that. It's the way it works, and it happens at lots of libraries. But you can do direct EBSCO publications directly through PDF full text. Just click on it, it downloads the PDF directly for you, and you don't have to go through a landing page to go to another page. It really doesn't change anything. I mean, I just like to show people that some people get to the landing page and go, what do I, it's not like the PDF one, what do I do? But yeah, it's all you have to do is just follow the link to the next one, and and all of those that have landing pages work that way. So I somehow did that a lot quicker than I thought I would do. And so I'm going to turn it over to you guys if you have any questions. I saw a couple questions pop up in the chat. Let's see. Let me put my information on my final slide really up here, just so you have that information for future reference if you need that. So if you guys have any questions, I can take those now. Before you take off, though, I do have a quick poll that we like to do with the library where we ask you basically, did you learn anything new tonight? And it's a yes or no question. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but we appreciate the feedback. And there's the little poll if you want to answer those questions for us. We love it. At any rate, I hope this was helpful tonight. This has been recorded, so if you want to watch it again, you can. I'm going to be posting it on Blackboard in the next couple of hours, maybe first thing tomorrow. So let's see. I did a couple of questions really quick. I see Beth. Our current assignment says we need to have a functional hyperlink in the chart for the articles. How do we attach a hyperlink of an article from an interlibrary loan that was emailed to us? That's a fantastic question. That's usually a question that I get a little bit later down the road sometimes. How that works is, since it's an interlibrary loan article, there is no URL. So the link that you would have to provide likely is going to be the DOI, if it actually has a DOI. But other than that, that's how you would most likely cite that. Now, that is a general general explanation of that. But the reason why I say that is because there's always little differences. But most of the time, that's how you would handle that situation. Is you don't have a actual hyperlink because it came to you through us. You would either cite it as if you picked it up as a physical journal, which would mean you'd have to include the DOI if there is one. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't, but probably there is one. So I think that might be the best answer for that question. Let's see, what's the other one? Melissa, I have a Mac and then it won't work. Any suggestions? Oh man, I have a lot of suggestions for that. I've been told to use Mendeley if I have a Mac. I have never used a citation manager, so I'm open to whatever works. I love that attitude. It's a great attitude to have. So EndNote, if I don't know if you've talked to some of your instructors, it's not uncommon for people to struggle with EndNote, getting it together. It's just different. It's not as intuitive as Mendeley is and as Zotero, but it is a valuable tool to learn, especially because it's kind of what we're doing. We're learning, we're in graduate school or postgraduate school learning new things. So it's not bad to learn a new tool. It can be a little bit of a headache sometimes because, again, it's not as user-friendly as some. That's the X8. The X9 version is supposed to be a lot better. But for your situation now, having a Mac, it's a little tricky because in the fall summer period, there was an update to the in Mac computers, you had to update your OS, I believe, to Catalina, or something to that nature. I heard about it from actually another professor and had to do a little research on it. And a lot of Mac computers that that if they were updated during that time period, they EndNote X9 or X8 will not work on a recently updated Mac machine. If it has Catalina, the EndNote X8, which is the one you are using, will not work on your Mac computer. And if it does work, it's gonna not work as nearly as well as it would if it was on a on a on a Windows computer, for example. With this in mind and knowing that this happened, and I've talked to your professors about this, is that if that's the case in your situation, that you can't actually download it because your computer just doesn't work with it anymore, that by all means check out some of the other options, Zotero as well as Mendeley. I don't really have any favorites so much. I use Zotero personally a little bit more, but you can talk to your professor about it and let them know the situation, because that might be the cause of the problem. So it's Zotero is an excellent tool. Mendeley is a great tool, but I'd say if you're in 7000 especially, you may want to run it by your professor first, because there is a part of the rubric, I remember, for one of the assignments that they want you to show that you've used EndNote. Hopefully that's not going to be there too much longer, but at any rate, so that's what I would do in that situation. Reach out to your professor and see if you can see if they'll allow you to use another one if you're having so much problems using EndNote. But anyway, yeah, that would be my solution for that. Let me see, what's Dawn's question? There is an add hyperlink on the article search page. Then you can copy and paste it. It looks like a sideways 8. Yes, that's funny you say sideways 8. It is I think it's supposed to be a chain, actually, and somebody told me that once and I was like, what? Oh yeah, I can see it now. But yeah, it's kind of like the infinity symbol. But yes, to get a appropriate hyperlink to a Search USA article, such as this one, if you're using Search USA, you can go over to permalink over here under Tools, and it'll generate a permalink for you that you can copy and paste and put in as a citation, or you can put into your citation or provide so that your professor can view the article, exactly where you located it. Do not use the browser URL, because if you use this as your link to the article, maybe in an assignment, and if somebody tried to access it, they wouldn't be able to actually use that link. It times out after I think a couple of hours. It times out, but the permalink showed you that's the best way to do that, is by doing that. We have in our guides, and this actually is for your professors, actually, there is one of the guides that we have that actually breaks down how to do it on the different platforms. Again, this is a faculty and staff guide, but I've actually been pointing students toward this a little bit recently because it's pretty helpful as far as creating stable links. But if you go to faculty, staff, linking and courses, go to creating links in library resources, and then go to this, it's a connection to a PDF document that we created that says how to create a stable link to the library. And it kind of gives you an overview, then it shows you how to do it and walks you through the process of how to do it, how to do ebooks, how to, like I just showed you with permalinking and Search USA, do it in Gale, Ovid, ProQuest, and the like. So definitely check that out or I'll just drop it in the chat for those that are interested. See, this one you can just, I believe, you can just copy and paste. Sometimes you can do that, sometimes you can't. But that's if you need to get to that immediately. Oh, the permalink seems to work well with the interlibrary loan. Yeah, if it's one through, I mean, you can do that. I would say that some of the professors, they want to be able to access the article like for to click on it and to actually have the full text open, which I've never really understood. But you're right. You can go to, I'm trying to find an example, and that actually is probably a pretty good way to do it if you didn't want to go and search out the DOI. But yeah, you could do that. This is a request interlibrary loan article that you'd have to request, and you could just go permalink right there. Yeah, you could do that. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have probably thought about that before a little deeper, but in the past, that's usually been the case, is that interlibrary loan just use the DOI because you have the physical copy. But yeah, I guess if you find the online edition, I guess you could do that. Yeah. I think if it doesn't show up at all in Search USA or any other place, maybe that's when you're better off using the DOI. But yeah, thank you. Don, that's a good suggestion. So any other questions, comments? Anybody got jokes? I like jokes. Those are always good. I have to be clean though. We're professional. Sorry, I had some of my fans come in and try to get my attention. Um, anyway, I really appreciate your presence tonight and had some really good questions, by the way. Again, if you need anything, you can always reach out to me. I have my direct email, rgaylor@usa.edu. You'll see me in your courses from time to time as well, popping in and dropping off little bits of knowledge here and there. But again, I really thank you all for coming out tonight. Sorry I went over a little bit, but we had some good questions and I didn't want to miss those either. So I appreciate it. I'm going to hang out here until everybody leaves. So yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to go ahead and shut the recording off right now.